So we have y is greater than or equal to 1. We have x is less than or equal to 6. And we have negative 2x plus y is less than negative 5. Do you know how to graph all those kinds of lines? Is it okay if I remind you? Yes. Okay. So, I'm going to graph the first one in blue because that's what I'm working with first. How do I graph the line y equals 1?
Use your calculator.
You don't.
Oh,
So, remember when there's only one variable like these first two are, it's telling me which axis it's crossing and where. If this is crossing the y-axis at 1, what kind of a line is it?
it's a
Horizontal line, right? If it's crossing the y-axis at 1, it's crossing right there, right? Now, we have to be careful because I don't need to draw it right away. I need to look at some context clues that are here, okay? Do you notice that it is a greater than or equal? Well, greater than or equal or less than or equal is a very specific kind of line. It is a solid line. That means if it's less than or greater than, what kind of a line is it? Dotted. Okay? So this one is a solid line, so it crosses the y-axis at 1. Now remember we said after we graph it, we also have to shade. This is saying greater than or equal to. So we're going to shade above, right? Now, I really need you guys to stop talking. You're being kind of rude today. Okay? I am not going to shade yet. Because if I start shading now, how hard is that going to be able to see where I'm actually having to graph some of the other lines? It might get confusing, and I'm trying to avoid some confusion here. Okay? What I am going to do is tell myself where I would shade if I were going to shade. Does that make sense? I'm going to tell myself if I was shading right now, I would shade above the line. Yes? Okay. All right, I'm going to graph the second line in orange. How do I graph the line x is less than or equal to 6? It crosses the x-axis at 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is a solid line. And if I was shading, would I shade to the left of it or the right of it? Why is it to the left? Because it's less than, right? Okay. Now, I'm not going to put arrows down here. Why am I not going to put arrows down here? Yeah, I already know it's above the blue line, right? I don't need to put any arrows that are below the blue line. I'm trying to narrow this down, right? Okay. Now I'm going to graph the last line in red. Can I graph this line as it is?
Yes.
In order to graph a line by hand that I'm trying to do, I need it in slope-intercept form, right? Which is the y is by itself. So I need to add 2x to both sides. When I do that, I get y is less than 2x minus 5. Now that I have an inequality with two variables, please remember what I have to graph first is the y-intercept. The y-intercept is negative 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down on the y-axis. And then second, I have to plot the slope. And what's the slope? 2 over 1, right? So rise 2, run 1. Rise 2, run 1. And I'm going to rise 2, run 1 all the way to the edge of the graph so that I can easily see what my graph looks like. Now before I draw the line, I recognize what?
It is.
It is dotted, yeah. Now when it comes time to shade this line, it is less than. So am I shading above the line or below the line?
Below.
Below. So now do you see where our solution is? Where is our solution? In the little triangle, right? Now I want you to be careful, because just because there's a triangle doesn't mean that's where you shade. Okay? You only shade where they're all pointing. In this particular case, they are all pointing inside the triangle. Sometimes they'll all point over here. Sometimes they'll all point over here. You just have to be careful. Okay? Any questions about this? So when I was asking you questions like this earlier, is this point a solution to this system? If this was a particular graph, I would be saying, is this point inside this shaded area? Does that make sense now? Is the point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 5, 2, is that in the shaded area?
Yes.
Is the point 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 in the shaded area?
Yeah. Well,
It's not, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter that it's on the perimeter, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 would be in the shaded area, but it's on the dotted line. It's not in the shaded area. Does that make sense? Any questions about that? All right. Do you want to do another example of that?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. All right. Y is greater than or equal to negative x plus 1. Y is less than or equal to negative x plus 4. Y is greater than 2x minus 1. So how do I graph this first line?
You go to the
Yep, I graph y-intercept first, so I go up 1. And then what's my slope for this line? Negative 1. So from my y-intercept, I go down 1, right 1. Down 1, right 1. And once again, I'm going to make all the points so I can see the line easily. Is this a solid line or a dotted
Solid.
line?
Should be solid.
It should be solid.
Solid.
shade above.
Why do you think we should shade above?
Greater.
Very good. Okay. I graphed that one in blue. How do I graph the second line?
Shade on y-axis 4.
So 1, 2, 3, 4 on the y-axis. And what's the slope? Negative 1. So again, down 1, right 1. Or up 1, left 1. Is it solid or dotted?
Solid.
Okay.
You shade below because it's
Shade it down.
It would be absolutely shaded down because it is less than. Okay. So far the only place my solution can be is right there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll,
Teachers and students, please pardon this interruption. Can I please see the following students in the library? Branson Tatum, Cecily Moore, Sidoni Thomas, Noah Hamilton, Ledger Carlisle, Ureli Hurtado, Grace Robledo, Braden Taylor, Bryson Broadus, Jacob Hernandez, Emma Kemp, Jalissa Cantu, Sam Siegler, Jackson Poole, Pierce Chesser, Jody Broadfoot, Hudson Bryan, Maddie Underwood, Alexa Tenaglia, Caleb Robles, and Nate Purley. Thank you.
My intercept was -1. My slope was 2/1, so I went down 1 on the y-axis, then up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1. Okay?
If you shade it up.
We are going to shade up, but before I draw it, it is dotted. Okay?
So that whole thing, okay. Alright.
Does that make sense? Yeah. Do you feel better about this now? Good. Remember I told you you need 3 skills to be successful in this assignment, right? The first skill was if I give you a point, can you tell me if it's a solution or not? How do you feel about that? The second skill is if I give you the system, can you give me the graph? You feel confident on that? All right, third skill.
Is it a third one? Oh, wait, yeah.
I'm going to zoom way in so you can very clearly see what I'm graphing, okay? Because the third skill is I give you the graph, you give me the system. So just backwards of what we just did, right? Okay, so let's graph this first. Is it close enough for you to see exactly what I'm graphing? Okay. We good? Almost done? Done or almost done?
Done.
Okay. Almost done. Okay. So if you need to tell me the system that matches with this graph, which line would you like me to start with?
The one that's
Horizontal line? Okay, so this one?
The y-axis.
It's crossing the y-axis where?
-2.
-2. Now, did I shade above or below?
above.
Above. And is it solid or dotted?
Dotted.
So what goes here? Just greater than. Thank you. And that's it. That's it for that line, right? That goes with that line. Okay, so what about the vertical line?
That's the x.
That's the x-axis. Where is it crossing?
That's 1.
At 1. And is it shaded to the right or the left?
To the right.
So that is greater than. And is it solid or dotted? So greater than or equal to 1. And that's for that line. So all we have left is the diagonal line, right? Okay. What do we need to know for a diagonal line? The slope and y-intercept. Okay, so let's see, I'm going to start with y. And did I shade above or below?
Below.
And it is a dotted line, so less than. What's my slope? 1. So 1x, or just x. Plus what?
Plus 2. No, plus 1.
Yeah, plus 1, because that's where it crosses the axis, right? And that's for that line. That's it. That's done.
That's actually not bad, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I don't want you to lie to me anyways, but thank you. Do you need another example of those? You feeling confident about that, it seems? Good. Okay. Any questions before we go? You good? What are the 3 skills?
First, you need to know how... Yes or no?
Yes or no, right? Is this point a solution? Second skill, here's the system, graph it. Third skill, here's the graph. Give me the system. Any questions?